morning. Hit that button there. Give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and share the video. And we out here, ladies and gentlemen. We in here. We are in here. We're getting it done. So, what is happening? Love the state of play yesterday. I didn't watch it till like late last night, but I loved it. So I'm gonna do a review on that. We'll talk about how my PS-5 died and somehow it's doing all kind of things. And also, yeah, I'll be talking about because I was at work on Wednesday when, or was it Tuesday, when PlayStation, or was Sony decided to do several things actually. I mean, they announced the they announced the movie Spider-Man movie title. They did that. So, you know, Sony did that. I mean, that just totally went under you all's radar. I didn't see anybody talking about that. But then they announced that they were going to bring more games to PC, and I saw nothing but damage control and butt hurt from people. So we got people out here spoiling games now, even though they specifically got mad at these short bus people spoiling The Last of Us Part 2 a year or two ago. So, you know, how, you know, the hypocrisy is out of control. So, but shout out to everybody that's here. Give me a thumbs up if everything sounds good. But we got the Joker in here. Shout out to him. PlayStation Kings is in the house. Shout out to him. Immortal Black says, good morning, who's WandaVision? Well, if you don't know what it is, don't spoil it. Don't worry about it. What's up, Eric? How you doing, brother? The greatness of the Raiders. I'm playing the Raiders right now on Madden, and I'm struggling. So, I am struggling against the Raiders. So, the Raiders got the #1 pick because I simulated my season. And, so I simulated my season, and the Raiders drafted that guy out of Clemson, and he's a man. I mean, and the Raiders have a good offensive line. They got a real good right tackle, and their center is one of the best in the league. And so I'm having issues on my line. So they're double teaming my two best defensive players on the line. So, but shout out to everybody that's here. So, of course, the Nightbot's in the house. So, but what is happening, people? So, yeah, you got a lot of moisture out here. I guess you all call it the YouTube gaming streets. You know. So, yeah, I guess that's what you kids call it. So, we had a real good state of play yesterday. I'm loving that. But we'll go ahead and get to the first story, which is for all these suckers out here that kept complaining about the storage on the PS5. According to Bloomberg, this just came out a few hours ago. According to Bloomberg, technology page, shout out to Bloomberg, Sony to open PS5, PlayStation 5 for storage upgrades in the summer. So this is good for the people that who have storage issues. I don't. I mean, I think I've got maybe 2 more missions left on Hitman 3, and to knock that on out, and then I'll be deleting Hitman 3, not permanently deleting it, but I'll be you know, putting it in whatever you want to call it in the cloud storage, and and that's it. I may, when they add to it or add some DLC, I may go ahead and re-download it. But yeah, I said Hitman 3, Madden on there, Assassin's Creed, Spider-Man, all that is on there. So yeah. So well, again, we know that's not true, Lansville Paul. It said it's making it too hot. Nah, it's not. No, it's not. So I have a PlayStation 5, and it doesn't get, the one thing it doesn't do is get hot. So now, there could be some defective units out there. So, but as we can see right here, they're opening it up for the storage. So I mean, you're seeing what they're doing, so people will stop. I say people are going to always complain about something. That's just reality. That's just human nature. So I don't really care about that anymore. Big shout out to the big homie Sick Humor, who specifically said he didn't understand why cats were arguing with these Xbox guys online, because they're going to complain about everything anyway. I mean, they're complaining about the price of games, and then if the game came out at a $60 price, they would complain and say it's too short. They're always going to complain because they're not happy with Microsoft at all. They're not going to shut up till 2023 when Microsoft actually starts putting games out. Okay, so they are going to always talk about what Sony is doing and Metacritic scores, because that keeps them in the conversation. And that's why I said months ago, do not get caught up in their BS. But a lot of people, they were going back and forth with them, and just because they don't like something doesn't mean you got to argue with them. So they don't like it, they don't like it. I know people that like the movie The Incredible Hulk. I actually know people that like that movie. So also I want to shout out the new subs. Canadian Spy 007 has subscribed, so shout out to him. Yeah, get the word out, people. We're closing in on 1,550 subs. So hopefully by the end of summer we'll be at 1,600, and by Christmas time the goal is to be at about 1,650. So keep it going here. But that's what happens when you listen to the. I mean, we're going to talk about the difference in the Sony fans versus the fanboys, because there is a difference, and I have a perfect comparison for you all. We'll talk about that later on down the road. First things first. So we know about the storage with the PS5, how that's going to go. Of course, the main problem with the PS5 is that Sony did address this whole week. Sony dropped a lot of information this week, from the Spider-Man movie to more games going to PC to a very good state of play. Again, it's my opinion. I enjoyed it. I watched it this morning, and we'll talk about that right now. I gave that state of play a solid 7 to 8 out of 10. You had these people complaining about why Sony doesn't do these, inform people on what they're doing, and that's exactly what they did. So, and you have a group of people who keep telling you that this state of play, we're going to see. Also, give a shout out to Ocean Cookie. He subscribed. The Nerd King has subscribed. Hit that like button, people. And if you want to support the podcast, hit that super chat. Ask a question. I will definitely read it out loud and get that going. I like this Saint Dino. I like that. So shout out to him. And yeah, but I give this state of play a solid 7 out of 10, solid 8 out of 10 almost. Returnal gameplay. Kenna Bridge of Spirits had some new gameplay. That game looks like a Pixar movie. It does. It looks like a Pixar movie, which is something that the animators and developers said that they would be able to get with Sony's PlayStation 5. You're seeing it, and you're seeing it within the first year of launch. And that game looks stunning. That's from Ember Labs, and that is a day one buy for me. Ember Labs, shout out to them. They moved that game, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. They moved that game to August. Thank goodness. That game's coming out in my birthday month, so that will be my birthday present this year. I'm going to get Kenna Bridge of Spirits. It's on my birthday, August 23rd. It will be out on my birthday. I guess they can move it up, but I hope they don't. Because me and Kenna are spirits now. She is my official spirit guide. She's a Virgo. August 23rd puts her right, and she's a Virgo. So, and she kind of acts like a Virgo in that, But we haven't, the one thing we haven't seen yet is we've seen her smiling, we've seen her fighting and stuff like that. We haven't heard what she sounds like yet. So let's see. That's Ember Labs' next big thing they got to drop on Kenna is what's she gonna sound like, So we'll have to wait and see though. But shout out to them for doing that. Very excited. They showed Returnal, another game I'm buying. That's a day one for me. I got 5 on it up there at GameStop. So I'll be picking that up in late April, early May, whenever that comes out. The big bomb drop, the big one, the Final Fantasy VII dropping. Final Fantasy VII will be available in a couple days for free on PS Plus or whatever that thing is called. If you get PS Plus or whatever that is, you can go ahead and get that for free. That will be part of it. Okay, that is a game you can download. Now, let me make this clear. That version of the game is not eligible for the upgrade, which if you didn't see, it's getting a graphics upgrade and it's getting a performance mode. It's 60 FPS. Now, I mean, it has a classic mode. I don't know why you would play the classic mode at 60 frames per second. But, all right, you have that option to play it because it's more open now, to play it at 60 frames a second. And this is one thing I do love about each one of these consoles is that we have the choice to play at 60 frames per second or play at a higher graphics fidelity, okay? So, you know, because very rarely are you going to, I mean, there may be some games that are 4K 120, but it's going to be very rare and in between, especially early in the generation. Maybe by 2025, that's when you'll go ahead and get that going. So, thoroughly enjoyed it. I see some 6 out of 10. That's good. That's 60%, 7 out of 10. So, yeah. And don't think, I mean, Final Fantasy VII, that's a big friggin' deal. Final Fantasy is one of the most popular franchises in the world. Okay? People say, well, they like Kingdom Hearts more. Nothing wrong with that. But if there's no Final Fantasy series, there is no Chrono series. None of that comes. Okay? These are all Final Fantasy games. You know, all these games you see people streaming, these Japanese games, they're copies. They're baby Final Fantasy games. You know, so, which is fine. I'm not knocking it. But, yeah. Yeah, now let me make this clear. They got to change that voice, and they got that new DLC. Now, apparently, the new DLC for Final Fantasy VII, that is only going to be on PlayStation 5. Okay, I say again, that is only going to be available on PS5. So let's go here. Final Fantasy VII DLC. So, yeah, we'll go to the PlayStation blog, and we'll just bring this up on the screen here. Let's kind of talk about it a little bit more. So, how do I do this again? Okay. So, let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. But what did you all think about State of Play? For me, solid 7, 8 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's exactly what Sony said it was going to be, which is going to be... It was going to be information about games that are coming up, you know, that are in the pipeline, which is exactly what we thought it was going to be. So, but like I said, shout out to the big homie Sick, because I'm taking what he says. I took that to heart when I heard him on a podcast. I think I heard him on J-Tech's podcast, and maybe it wasn't on J-Tech's podcast, but like he said, man, you got a bunch of stands that no matter what comes out, they're gonna complain. And then you have these PlayStation guys who are just trying to argue with them. They're always going to move the goalposts because they're not happy with what Microsoft is doing. They're not. They are not, because they would be playing the games. The other day I was playing on the PS5, and the DualShock, DualSense, whatever this thing is called, the battery ran out, and I got mad. And I got mad because I was just enjoying playing the games. I mean, I was playing the game for 2 hours, and then I would walk outside and do some stuff, you know, and then I would come back in and play something else. So I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla for a couple hours. Then I played Madden for a few hours. You know, then I played Spider-Man for a few hours. And, I mean, you know, and so I'm too busy enjoying the PlayStation to worry about. I mean, I know what it can and cannot do. Okay, like I said, mine is broke because mine does ray tracing. Okay, somehow on an RDNA 1 card, it's doing ray tracing. Okay, and it does 60 frames per second on some games. Hell, some games are 120. Okay, so I mean, I'm fine with it. You know, it has 3D audio sound. All right, you know, spatial sound mimics the way that you hear in real life. It's really hard to understand that until you put these headsets on. You know, so and again, I got a 7.1 headset. Everybody knows that. It makes that sound bad because the 7.1 does not bring up the doesn't have the same depth of sound. It has good sound, but not that depth of sound that the PlayStation headset has. But check this out, Final Fantasy VII, you got visual optimizations, you got, I guess, a new photo mode, you have a new episode featuring Yuffie, you know, or Yuffie. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, this to me is big news as a Final Fantasy fan. So, but it says here, it says today are happy to announce. Yeah, I'm happy about this. Hellfire. You know, so, you know, you got almost instant loading. How many of you all saw almost the instant loading times? Okay? I mean, that was amazing when they did that. That was amazing. They called it quality of life. They're talking about the loading. You know, they have the DLC, integrate and enhance an expanded version of last year's critically acclaimed adventure. You know, whether you've already completed Cloud's Journey on PS4 or brand new to the world, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake, yeah, has something to offer. I mean, hey, look at this right here. It's gonna have you can switch between graphics mode that prioritizes high quality 4K graphics. It says 4K, you know, is required. It says performance mode that prioritizes smooth action at 60 FPS. You got new textures coming in. You know, I mean, it looks phenomenal. I'm very excited about this. So, I mean, I'm excited about the games. You know, I'm not excited about, oh, well, this is going to do this and this can only do that. I mean, that's what I got my PC for. Okay, I highly recommend you take my advice and you really start thinking about putting together a PC to game. And it don't have to be no extravagant barn burner, you know, your eyes gouge out pricing PC. But go ahead and start putting one together. Okay, you got to get you a case, get you a power source for it. You'll probably spend about $100, and you may spend $100. You can budget $120 and get that ready. Okay, you can get that ready. So, but yeah, I'm excited about this. Very excited about this. So I will be playing this. And you got to remember, I had Final Fantasy VII on my PS4, but I didn't carry anything over. I just started brand new generation, brand new me. I would just repurchase it. So that comes out here. Let's see here. It comes out June 10th. So I'll be hopefully moved by then. You know, I'll be moving. We'll be moving here in April and not April, but maybe late April, early May. So a lot of stuff I'm doing is on hold. But yeah, this is perfect. June 10th, I'll be ready. You know, I will be ready for this. Ready for Betty. So, but yeah. So again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, I do not know why these clowns, and I mean, again, the PlayStation fanboys will always say they're possibly gonna show God of War Ragnarok. Again, when did Sony's first party studio that makes that game put out a flyer saying that, yeah, watch State of Play, we're gonna have some new information on God of War? They didn't. They never did. So why even believe those clowns? Well, because they're fanboys. And it's because you want to hear it. And even, let me make this clear, had Sony showed God of War Ragnarok, and they didn't, and I did not say they would, had Sony shown God of War Ragnarok, people would have complained and said they didn't show enough. Okay? They didn't show that. They see that they're always going to say something to make you keep faking the baby. Okay? And it's because they're unhappy. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. Okay? I was so upset when my when my console gamepad died. Because it really meant that I didn't care. I wasn't paying attention to the warnings. I was so busy into the gaming. So that's fine for me. That's what I've been waiting on. And that's the way I was with that PS2. Okay, that PlayStation 2, I just kept playing and playing and playing. Okay, so this thing, it does give me PlayStation 2 vibes for me personally. They got a ton of content on there. They got stuff I can go back and play, which I don't do because it's a new generation. I did play a little bit of Days Gone at 60 frames. I played it for maybe 2 hours just to kind of see what it was like to play at 60 frames a second. And if that game needed it, if any game needed to be 60 frames per second, it's that game. Okay, so I totally understand it. Ghost of Tsushima, I tried to go back and play that at 60. I couldn't get into it. Okay, because it didn't make a difference to me. The game targeted 30 frames per second. It's not that 60 is bad. It's not. It's definitely more fluid. But if you're targeting 30 is fine. But 60 was a little bit better, but it's not a deal breaker with Ghost. Excited for Final Fantasy because I play that openly, and Final Fantasy used to be, you remember, it used to take turns. You would say something to attack or heal. It would take your turn to do that. They got rid of that. Now it's just more open. But State of Play, what else did they show? Yeah, they showed that. Oh, that new one, the Sci-Fi or something like that. The beat 'em up game. Looked fine to me. I mean, I'm like, well, I'm gonna probably end up getting that as a small indie game. Fairly excited about that. I mean, again, Sony proper did not say. And if you want, I don't know why you guys have access to all this information, but you all keep getting suckered by people that tells you, here's what they may show. When you have access, you can go follow Guerrilla Games' Twitter page. It's not that hard. But you decide not to do it. You decide to listen to these moist-ass fools that say, oh, no, they're going to be showing this, they're going to be showing that. And then when they're wrong, they sit up there and do videos and say it was a bad show. Because they look bad. Okay? Because you can't point to me and say, how many times have I heard somebody say Sony's going to show Silent Hills? I mean, when? I mean, fine. But it's not, everybody acts like Silent Hill was this orgasmic experience. I mean, it wasn't. It was okay. It wasn't as good as Resident Evil. Okay? It wasn't. It's not. I don't know. Maybe Silent Hill 1 was maybe as good as Resident Evil 3. Okay? But it wasn't as good as Resident Evil 1 and 2 were benchmark games. That's the reason why you got zombie games is because of Resident Evil. Okay? And I'm not talking about that trash Resident Evil 8 Biohazard. I mean, that was, But, people actually were like buying PlayStations to play Resident Evil. Okay, so we had these little bitty 19-inch CRT TVs. Let me show you the TV I played Resident Evil on back in the day. Let me pull that up. We can all have a good laugh at the old man here. 19-inch CRT. Okay, let me show you what my TV looked like. Matter of fact, this is it. So here, let me put this up on the screen here. No, I don't want to show eBay. I can show eBay. That's fine. It's fine. Actually, no, let's not show eBay. Let's just show a 19-inch screen TV. Let's see here. Here, I'll show eBay. Let's just show this one. All right, here we go. You all get a good laugh. This is when I played Resident Evil, the very first one. This is what my TV looked like. See here. It looked like that. Okay? That's what we were playing on. Okay? I mean, so, and this one is, look, it says retro gaming gamer with remote. So it comes with a remote control. So this is what we had, okay? This is what we were playing on. And but my point is that I mean these guys are going around and gals. What they do is they're putting misinformation out there or speculation out there, which I don't mind some speculation. But when we actually have access to Guerrilla Games' Twitter, we have access to Kojima's Twitter, we have access to Naughty Dog's Twitter. I mean that's where you guys should go for your information. Don't wait on some PlayStation fanboy, in this case, to give you fake emotional, well, I can go ahead and if they show this, then I can get on social media and I can bash the Xbox community or whoever. The console war is over. It's over. I have an investment team that I talk to. Okay, there's different levels of investors in there. I'm a mid-tier investor. We got told over 8 months ago that when Sony got its market share back last generation, they pretty much said we're good. Okay? They said we're good because they lost market share to Microsoft. They got it back plus an extra like 18%. So they are the dominant force in the gaming market worldwide. They do much better in some regions than others, but worldwide they are the dominant force. Microsoft will never catch them. Not worldwide. And Sony knows that, and that's all they have to do is expand. They're going to expand that. So, but keeping with State of Play, I enjoyed State of Play. I understand there were a group of people doing, here's what I think they're going to show, and then when they didn't show it, they looked stupid. You know, so shout out to Ash and Luca for her tweet saying something to the effect of, I wonder if these insiders will be correct. And it's kind of like that you're not going to see anything on Horizon. Horizon Zero Dawn's not slated to come out to the end of the year. Why do you think they're going to show it now? Why? Okay, they just now, here's the last information on Horizon, whatever it's called, Horizon Forbidden West. They started to shut down PC support for Horizon Zero Dawn because they're moving that team and those teams they're at a point with Forbidden West where they have to start using their entire team. That's it. So if you're playing Horizon on PC, you're going to get trash-ass updates. I mean, you just are. All right? It's not that you won't get none, but they're going to take longer to get there because the team is moving on. That's it. That's the last thing that we know about. But so I don't know why people came out and said, they may show this, they may show that. There's nothing there. Okay? All we saw of God of War Ragnarok, or all we heard of God of War Ragnarok, because we still haven't seen any gameplay for Horizon, okay? All we got out of God of War Ragnarok was we got the title of Ragnarok, and you got the music playing in the background, and I think you got Kratos' voice. So again, they're not going to use a short state of play to push their first party IP. That's not, Sony has never done that. But I don't get it. You know, people are going to these channels and because they're in the midst of a fake ass console war. Okay, they're in the midst of a fake ass console war that doesn't exist. Sony, as soon as Sony announced the PlayStation 5, the console war was over because who's going to compete against that? Nobody can compete with them worldwide. Sony invented the difference between the Sony fans and the fanboys, that the fans are fans of the technology. Okay, I still love my Walkman from 1987 that I bought at Sears. Still works at Sony's. It still works. Okay, and when I see people, whether they're running with earbuds or they're looking at their MP3s or whatever they're using to listen to music, it's a derivative. It's a come down of the Sony Walkman. Sony invented that technology and now everybody is modified. It's better. I'm not here to say it's just as good. Definitely, the music digitally is better. You can argue that the music isn't as good, but it sounds fine. You know, you have these little bitty earbuds. You're getting tremendous sound, unbelievable. You know, we had headsets. Okay, we had these cheap ass looking headsets. So, but we're fans of the technology of the company. I was more excited about Spider-Man getting its release date, and it got its release window, and it got its title. Okay, it got its title as well. Nobody talked about that. Nobody was talking about that. That was huge news. And it's only going to be in theaters. See, that was the big deal. So that tells you about the way Sony's thinking about putting things day and date places. Because it would be really cool if Sony said, okay, we're going to release this in theaters, but we're also going to release Spider-Man on PVOD, which is Premium Video on Demand. Sony didn't do that because they're not going to do stuff day and date. They're going to lose too much money. The last Spider-Man movie made over $1 billion at the theater. So they're going to release it in the theaters. And it clearly says it in there. It says theaters only. Now, of course, we're like, well, that could change. Of course it could change. Okay? Of course it could change. But if you're going to live on, of course it could change, again, you got hoe in you. You know, you got hoe in you. Because you're literally waiting on something. They're not going to do day and date with their movies, and they're not going to do day and date with their games, because that people will say, well, that's two different divisions. Yeah, but they have the exact same thing. You know, they're doing the exact same things. But, I mean, you guys don't understand how to look for trends because you're waiting on somebody to tell you something. Don't listen to these fanboys who told you what, 8 months ago that Silent Hill was going to be done at a state of play. It's been how many state of play since last year? Still no Silent Hills. Okay? They told you that Metal Gear was going to be shown at a state of play. Why would they show that at a state of play? A state of play is a short burst of information. You know, maybe 45 seconds of gameplay, release date, release window. In the discussion, they move to the very next thing. They show Oddworld. Again, Oddworld, I think, came out on PlayStation 2. I think it was. I could be wrong. Somebody could double check that. That game has been around forever. So, again, that's fine. Now, I'm not going to play that game, but they have a fan base for that game. And Sony does need more platformers. They do. So that fits fine. That's a title from back in the day that people recognize, and they can go ahead and play. And again, it did look good. I mean, I watched it again. It did look good. So did my PS-5 die? It did. It's doing all kind of crazy stuff. It does ray tracing in 60 frames per second. So, you know, just I mean, it's nuts. You know, like I said, you know, and we all know the whole. I mean, that people are so short of information and brain power. They brought up RDNA 1 and RDNA 2 again, even though Epic CEO and forget about Epic CEO, throw him out with the trash for a minute. The CEO of the company that makes the friggin' system, that makes the daggone bacon, egg, and cheese system, told you all exactly what was in there, and these guys are still running, and people are still arguing, and that's exactly what these guys want. Because if you're arguing, you know, what happened to my PS5? It does ray tracing. It's broken. It's doing ray tracing and it's doing 60 frames per second and all that kind of stuff. So it's broke. You know, unless I got a special model. So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, my PS5 is terrible. So, you know, I don't understand why it's doing that. I need help. I called Sony. Sony was like, well, I think Sony said it does do that. I'm like, all right, well, y'all, you know, according to these people, the Sony's lying. I haven't never seen anything like it before. You know, it's just an entire alternative reality that these guys have created. So, but, yeah, so you have these gamers out here going ahead and They're butthurt that Sony is putting games on PC. So let's look at this logically. Sony creates an SSD proprietary that they say is going to be available on PC. Now again, so let's look at that. Really think about that. They have proprietary technology that's going to be on PC. They have a major developer, Epic, that develops games, that has its own engine, put a developed engine game on their platform. You have that chief developer saying this is only possible because of PlayStation's SSD. Okay? And you have Linus Tech Tips or Linus Tech Guy, whatever his name is, absolutely frothing at the mouth, running around the internet like a chicken with his head cut off, okay? Which is what you saw. He was chasing Tim Sweeney around like a dog with that red thing hanging out of his nutsack, trying to say, oh no, it will work on this, oh no, it'll work on that, until it got to a point where it was obsessive. It was disgusting for a grown man to act like that. And so he finally came out and apologized. So, but my point is that they make technology specifically for the PC. They go to Steam, a company that they don't own, and they ask Steam to support the games proprietary with the DualSense joystick or game console pad, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Steam is not available on the PlayStation 4 or 5, at least not to my knowledge. It does have apps on there, but I don't think it has Steam. Somebody can double check that. So they're not asking these companies to do these things and not be moving into their spot. Sony invested $250 million into Epic Games, and Epic is one of the places that they are going to be releasing their games. Okay, and they want Epic. Probably by the end of the year, the Epic Game Store will be supporting the DualShock or DualSense. It's going to support it natively. Okay. That's a big deal because Steam has its own controller that doesn't do it. It's such a big deal. Microsoft, which makes PC software, okay, proprietary, had to come out and say we're going to make something similar to the DualSense because they don't want people switching over. The Xbox has the dominant gamepad on the PC. It's native. You just plug it in. You ain't got to go and set nothing up. You ain't got to press no buttons. It just works. Okay, it just works. But the fact that Sony now has a gamepad, okay, that works on PC and is going to get support from major developers on major platforms, that should have told you something. The Sony fan, the fan of what the technology is, they understood that. The Sony fanboy said, it's not that big a deal. Sony would never do this. I mean, you got these caked out people talking about printing out t-shirts, Xbox has no games. Okay? Which is fine. They don't. It's not that it's not true, but why even go there? You know, Xbox has no games because their games are all on PC day and date. So they have no games that are proprietary to that console. You know, so they don't. They haven't in years. And the reason why that happened was because Sony and Nintendo pushed them to do that. Microsoft wasn't moving enough units. Okay? They weren't. So then you move to the other thing. So think about that. You have Sony investing millions of dollars into a PC format, into Epic, okay? It's not like they bought Epic. They bought a piece of the pie, okay? Epic's like, we'll sell you this much of our company, okay? So Sony owns part of Epic now, all right? You have that. You had the headset that allegedly is going to work. So now if you have the software to support spatial sound, whether you use NVIDIA's or you use AMD's, you now can use their headset. I believe it's just plug and play on PC. If something is plug and play, that means it has native support. All right? It has native support. So that means that PlayStation 5, think about it, SSD proprietary that will work in PC, headset that will work with PC, okay? Gamepad that is going to have support on Steam and probably the Epic Store. Okay? That should have told everybody something. But these idiots kept saying the things they were saying. I specifically said, hey, this is over. Console war is over. Everybody needs to just chill out, enjoy the games. You know, but they couldn't do that. Like I said, they decided to go full retard. And then you get the big news of Days Gone and other PlayStation games going to PC, which did not surprise me, because I'm like, yeah, the games have been out for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. They're just sitting there not making any money. And Horizon Zero Dawn with the PC and sold, what, close to 1 million or right at 1 million or something like that? That's a lot for an IP that was 2.5 years old. So think about if Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 go to PC, those games were on the PS3 first. They were on the PS3 first. That was 2 generations and 1 mid-generation upgrade ago. That's the truth. They got ported to the PS4. That's what happened. They got ported to the PS4. Those are PS3 games. Naughty Dog went back in and gave us the Nathan Drake collection. It's running at 60 frames a second. They gave us Uncharted 4. They gave us Uncharted Lost Legacy. Okay? So the 2 new games Naughty Dog released for Uncharted were Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4. You know? And when did Uncharted come out? 2016, people. 5 years ago. Now you got these ninjas online and spoiling the games for people. The same ninjas who cried and bitched and moaned and threw a fit and were, and rightfully so when these guys were online spoiling The Last of Us Part 2. They had every right to be pissed off about that. I was pissed off about that. But now you got people running around spoiling the end of PlayStation games because they're mad that the format that they use, which is the console war, is pretty much a dead issue now. They're going to actually have to go and do other stuff on their podcast. Okay? They're going to have to do other stuff on their podcast. So it's going to force them to actually branch out and do different things. And now we're going to see how talented they are. I'm not saying they're not talented. Don't put words in my mouth. But now they're going to have to do something different. Like me right now taking a swig of my old Kentucky home. So everything was there for you to see. The investment into Epic, the proprietary SSD, the DualShock or DualSense, whatever this thing is called, working on PC, Sony getting native support for their games on Steam, and then now you got people, well, the best version of the game is going to be on PC. But the game is going to be 2 years old, so of course the best version is going to be on PC. I saw those recommendations of Days Gone. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull those up. I'm not going to play this on PC because I've already beaten it, and I took on the Sawmill Horde, and that's all I was talking about. That's all I heard. Days Gone, PC, specs. Okay, so let's see here. Let me go to my PC page. Okay, let's look at this right here. Let me pull this up here. And this is why I specifically said to you guys, get yourself a PlayStation, get yourself a PC. You will cover about 90% of what you want to play. At least for me, it covers about 90% of what I will play. All right. Look at this right here for the recommended. So this is to run it balls to the wall. All this stuff is, I mean, look, the Ryzen 5, well, let's look at the AMD stuff. The Ryzen 5 1500X, okay, that is 3 generations old because Ryzen, they're already up to what? You got the 2000 series with Ryzen. And don't they have another series of Ryzen chips now, CPU? Okay, so this is like the one right there, the 1500X. The one means first generation. 16 gigabytes of RAM. That'll cost you about, I don't know, $70. You can get a 1060. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is a second generation NVIDIA card. Because remember all those people running around saying, I got a 980 Ti. I mean, that was just 3 or 4 years ago. Because people were saying that the Xbox X is making people scared. I don't know if y'all remember that. Y'all fear the Xbox. Y'all fear 6 flops. And people are like, I got a 980 Ti. You know, so, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that's like a second. I mean, that's terrible. 1060. Look, here's what I used to have. Shout out to the PC community. I had an RX 580 in my computer. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, guys, this game I can play this game probably at max settings. I can probably play this game on my rig, and I've got what would be considered a low mid-tier rig. I don't have a mid-tier rig at this point is a minimum of like a 2070 or a 5700 or something like that. Because AMD's top tier is RDNA 2, and that's the 6000 series. Again, if you want all the RDNA 2 effects, you got to get the 6000 series. The consoles are not going to cover that. Okay, they cover some of it, and the Xbox Series X does have more native stock parts of RDNA 2. The PlayStation's got what? More customization. They got their own stuff working with RDNA 2. And yes, if some of PlayStation stuff holds up well and Lisa Sue gets that warm, fuzzy feeling, they will incorporate it into RDNA 3, maybe RDNA 4. So it says here that it says note the developer, and this is a Sony developer, recommends using an SSD for storage, and you'll need a 64-bit operating system. So that's okay. It says, while we wait for Days Gone, have a look at our list of best open world games. So again, Days Gone is 2 years old, and the Sawmill Horde, everybody took that on like it was. I thought that was supposed to be hard. I mean, that was easy for me. All I did was run around in a circle. Literally, if you take on the Sawmill Horde, once it gets started, you run up a ladder, you slide down a ladder, and then you look back. You should have like a M60 or some type of napalm or something like that, and you just throw it. And you start thinning them out really quick. You know, but all I kept hearing is, you gotta take on the Sawmill Horde. You gotta take on the Sawmill Horde. You know, so and I'm like, that wasn't even hard. Now that horde at the university, talk to me about that. That killed me about 25 times, so I figured out, oh, I can just hide up here and start shooting them, and I can take them out. And that's what I did. You know, because the zombies can't climb. You know, at least they can't climb up to the roof where I was. I don't know if that was a glitch in the game or I don't know. So what's up, CRU? So, but again, you got these moist-ass, fruit-booty Negroes spoiling games. And I don't know how, if you're a gamer, how is that good? Like, seriously, how is that good? And then to be told, well, the game is 2 years old. So the F what? So what? I don't care if the game's 10 years old. You're not going to complain about a group of people spoiling something for you, rightfully so, and then you turn around and do the same thing. And then try to script. That's the fanboy, but that's the difference in the fanboy. Okay? And let me give you another comparison. You have Marvel Cinematic Universe fans. Okay? You have Marvel Cinematic Universe fans. And then you have fans that are fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, plus we read the comic books. Okay? What's good about the movies is that it lets us all talk to each other. But I understand that when I talk to people about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that they only know about 20% of what's going on. And I remember I put on, I was watching WandaVision like 3 weeks ago, and I put on Twitter, I said, WandaVision is House of M in reverse. You dig? And I had so many people tweet me back and instant message me. Was like, what's House of M? Are you kidding me? What do you mean what's House of M? Everybody should, I mean, but you got to remember, there are fans of the MCU that only watch the movies and the television shows perfectly fine. And then you have fans like me that watch the television shows, read the comic books, and go watch the movies. And we have a much more in-depth knowledge of Marvel and the universe, the characters that are coming, you know, Gore the God Butcher and Beta Ray Bill, all those characters are coming, you know. So I already know about those characters. Don't know how they're going to be incorporated, but it looks like WandaVision, they're introducing mutants, which I am perfectly fine with. Monica Rambeau is a mutant now, you know, so are you going to do outright? I don't think I have enough space on that SSD to do it. But I'm trying to make more space. I promise you. I'm at the end of Hitman. I got, I think, 2 more missions left. And if I can, I'm gonna beat Hitman today. That's what I'm doing today after I play after we watch WandaVision at noon. And cause she'll be home here at 11:30. So yeah, WandaVision at noon. Then she's gonna run out to her mom's, and when she runs out to her mom's, I'm gonna do nothing. I am off for 4 days. I'm doing nothing. I'm going to beat Hitman. I'm going to try to beat, what's the name of that other game? Control. I got Control on it. I got so much to play. So, you know, granted, on my broken PS-5 that does ray tracing, you know, I have a fatback. What's a fatback? So State of Play has 1.4 million, what? Well, like views or something. So, but yeah, I mean, again, that just cracks me up about this. So what I am glad, the PlayStation games going to PC, so it did not matter what Sean Layton said a couple of years ago. He was like, well, Sean Layton got fired. Well, he still understands where the company is going to be at in 7 to 10 years. They know that, okay? He knows that. That's why he said years ago, only on PlayStation is not going to be around too much longer. He said something like that. But you had these moist fruit booties talking about, oh, well, no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do day and date, okay? I'll stand 10 toes down on that. But yeah, all right, let's take a game like Infamous Second Son. That game came out in 2014. It is 2021. That game will be on PC. Well, that slate that Jim Ryan's talking about, I'm pretty sure you may have Infamous, you may have Spider-Man, you may have God of War. God of War came out in 2018, guys. It did. Came out in 2018. You know, one game of the year. It's just been sitting there. Again, this is the people who did all this console war stuff. They got to find something else to do now. Okay, they're going to be finding something else to do because the console war is over. Okay, I mean, if you can't look at that State of Play and get excited about Kenna, and then Returnal coming out, and then we still got Resident Evil coming out. I mean, we got all these. We got MLB The Show coming out. That's what it's about. I mean, I sat down, like I said, my little controller died. My little controller died. So, and it died because I was enjoying the games, not because I was sitting up there worried about what Xbox is doing or what Nintendo's doing or what your baby's mama's doing. You know, so. You know, I did not make any predictions for State of Play because I just wanted to see what they were doing, and I got exactly what they said. Meanwhile, you got these clowns talking about they're going to show you this, they're going to show you that, and all they do is get made fun of. Okay? Now, if you didn't like State of Play, fine. As far as your opinion, I'm not going to argue your opinion. You have a right to it. But don't sit around and do predictions on major titles out of State of Play. That's not what State of Play is for. I mean, they have said multiple times to give you updates on some games that are coming out. So their big AAA game that's coming out in the next 4 weeks is Returnal. And then MLB The Show, which is a multi-plat. They probably won't do a State of Play on that. They may, I don't know. So, but yeah, I'm excited, more excited about Kenna now than I was. And Final Fantasy VII, heck yeah, I'm more excited about that than I was. You know, so I got to make room for that. You know, which means I'll be busy. So, shout out to True Virgil. Said after talking to his secret source and 7-Eleven men's restroom, 7-Eleven men's room, told me to wipe my mouth and continue to say the PS-5 action. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Returnal looks slick. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm getting more and more excited about that. I mean, I was just kind of like, all right, I need to see. I was on a podcast. I'm like, well, I said Returnal looked okay, but I need to see more stuff. You know, and now I'm starting to see more and more stuff. It looks fantastic. I'm excited about it. So hopefully it plays well. Okay, that's what I'm waiting to hear on how it plays. So still can't find any information on that, but I have to wait and see. So, but even a game from 2018 is seen has been recently released. Really? That's a long time. So, yeah, nothing about WandaVision, please. We're going to watch that here in a minute. So, yeah, I mean, we you know, like I said, I don't say we're out, you know, we're here. We're in here. We're right here. So you use a regular external HD for extra games. Yeah, and to me, I guess if you just download the games, it just goes to the cloud, and then I'll just download it from there. So, but yeah, Returnal is going to be. No, I haven't seen WandaVision yet. Like I said, I'm gonna be ordering the pizza, and she's gonna be home about 11:30, and then we're gonna watch WandaVision. And then I was gonna watch some movies, but I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and beat Hitman. I beat that one mission, man. It was so hard at that club. Oh my goodness, that was extremely challenging for me. So, so the environments and the sci-fi theme has you. So yeah, me too. I'm a sci-fi guy, so I'm biased towards sci-fi anyway. You know, that's why I saw the Halo screenshots off of the PC. Again, I'm going to get Halo Infinite. I'm just going to get it. I'm getting it on PC, right? And me seeing those screenshots, I was like, wow, that looks really good. So I hope it plays well. Okay? This is like me. I'm going to play Gears High Busters after I get done with Mass Effect Andromeda. That's why I'm just like, well, I can either delete DCS, which I'm not going to, or I can, which I may end up doing anyway. I don't know. Although I did shoot down, I did pretty well. I shot down some Tu-27 bombers and a beyond visual range mission. So yeah, it was fun. So refreshing take on. Yeah, it's House of M in reverse. That's what you guys are seeing. It's House of M in reverse. So, and again, House of M, I'm not going to give that away. You need to read that comic. It's one of the better comic book runs out there. You know, see what else here? Kind of winding it down. Yeah, guys, don't be out there spoiling games for people. I mean, you didn't like it. You didn't like it when it happened to you. Perfectly fine. You had every right to be pissed off. Okay. But also, it works both ways. Remember, the demon door of entropy works both ways, and you all need to at least respect other gamers. If you're upset that Sony's putting more games on PC, even though they all this proprietary stuff happened right in front of you, that is your fault. You should have listened to the fans and not the fanboys. Okay? Carnage? We're going to get some Carnage information in Venom coming up this year, I think. So, I mean, that's if you watch Venom, and I watched it twice because it was trash both times, but that's why at the very end cutscene, Woody Harrelson's character, that's why he said, "I can't wait to get out of here. When I do, it's going to be carnage." That's why he said that, because that's Carnage's symbiote is him. So let's have to wait and see. But yeah, man, that was pretty much it. That's all I had for you this morning. Like I said, I'm here for about a little less than an hour. I know, about an hour though. But yeah, I mean, again, this is why if you watch State of Play just to get some gaming information, that was fine. I mean, it was, to me, it was a good show. If you watch State of Play thinking, oh, we're going to see God of War, we're going to see Horizon, you know, we're going to see this. I mean, that's what's wrong with, that's the difference in the fans and the fanboys. Okay? The fanboys are going to always give you something, and then they're going to sit down on another podcast probably and say, well, they didn't show this. We didn't see Silent Hill. Again, ask yourself, why would Sony announce major AAA IP at a small event? They've never done that. I mean, they have never done that. But all of a sudden, that's supposed to change? That's not going to change. They're not going to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, Sony only showed the God of War logo in June. Well, they also let us know, but they mainly wanted us to know they were working on the sequel. You know, I mean, the console didn't come out 6 months from that date. So, and again, that's fine. Don't get me wrong, showing people stuff to keep them excited. But I'm hearing things, people saying like the hype has died down. Are you kidding me? Every time a PlayStation goes on sale, it sells out in 10 seconds. Again, they're just not. You got to understand, the fanboys, they have got to create some kind of consternation in order to get you all to watch. I mean, these guys and gals, they do YouTube for a living. They do it for a living. You know, so and people have asked me about the whole Bethesda thing with Microsoft. Well, do you think Bethesda, are they going to do this? I mean, to me, based on what Microsoft, okay, my opinion on that is based on what Microsoft has said, those games are going to come out for everybody. With that said, however, it doesn't really affect me because I have a PC that I can play all those games on. And this is why I said to you guys, take yourself out of the console war BS. Get yourself some type of PC. Even if it's a pre-build, okay? Even if it's one of those dog crap cyber powers, okay? You can go ahead with that cyber power PC, put other parts in there. Just say, hey, look, I got a cyber power PC. People are going to laugh at you. And you just need to say, yeah, I got a new motherboard and a new CPU for now. Okay? That's all you got to do. A motherboard gonna cost you about $120. A new CPU, you can get a good CPU for about $159. Okay? Then you just have to pay for somebody to install that crap. So Brett Favre said Kenna Returnal and purposely helped off Final Fantasy VII, waiting for PS-5 update free. Well, again, as far as it is a free PS-5 update. If you're talking about Final Fantasy VII. That is a free update. Just FYI for you. But yeah, see, I like talking about the games. I mean, I don't mind, you know, I like Sony's television sets, but I can't afford one. Like I said, P.O. Can't afford the O and the R. So, but I know Sony has a better TV than Samsung, and I'm a Samsung fan. Everybody knows that. But Sony makes a better television set. But Sony also knows they make a better television set, and they make it sure that I'm going to be paying for it, okay? So Returnal looks good, not $70 good. Well, what does $70 good look like? Okay, the price of the game is the price of the game. I mean, I didn't think Mass Effect the Mass Effect game looked $60 good. I'm like, well, it looks okay. It ain't $60. What am I supposed to do about that? I mean, if you don't think Returnal's worth $70, don't buy it until it drops down in price. I'll be buying it day one, simply because I would like for Sony to look at buying Housemarque. Okay? So, like I said, Sony looked at 4 studios. They talked to them over a year ago. So, if they've purchased them, this will be the year that they announced that they purchased them. Those 4 studios was Housemarque, BluePoint, Kojima, and Remedy. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Okay. So, I mean, what does that even mean? Doesn't look $70 good? I mean, I don't understand that. But again, it's your opinion. That's fine. I'm not going to argue. I mean, look, it's your money. If you don't think it's worth it, don't buy it. I understand that. I was at Ruth Chris Steakhouse and I did not buy the filet mignon. I just didn't think it was worth, $59.99. I didn't. Sorry, I just didn't buy it. I mean, still got a nice steak though, but I only paid $29.99 for it. So no game is worth $100. Okay. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Every man's got his limits. So every man's got his limits. So if you're a principal, I get that. Yeah, you're a principal man. I mean, you don't want to pay that much for it. I get it. So Corey Massey says that's why he's completely given up on being a fanboy. F Sony, F. So missed the Sony acquisition part of the show. Well, David, they specifically said before that show that they weren't going to be talking about any of that. They were just going to talk about the games. I mean, they specifically said that. They being Sony. So it was never going to be an acquisition talk. They're not going to talk about an acquisition at State of Play. That's not what you do. You release acquisitions to Bloomberg and Venture Beat and all that kind of stuff because they actually cover the business. If you want to look at acquisitions, if you're that interested, look at Bloomberg and look at the business. Look at the Wall Street Journal. They will give you tea leaves on what these companies are doing because you can see where the money's moving. So you like the Sony A9G OLED TV, you won't buy that for $4,000, but oh yeah, hey, that TV looks fantastic at Best Buy. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's okay not to want to buy something. The problem is that what you deem a necessity or a non-necessity, other people may say, well, I don't care about that. I mean, to me, paying $70 for a game is fine. Because if you buy the special edition, like if the people that bought The Last of Us Part 2 that bought that Ellie edition, that was over $100, wasn't it? I mean, in that one game, that's the most decorated game of all time. So again, as I said, guys, don't get caught up in their BS. B.B. King, a great musician and philosopher, said, "I paid the cost to be the boss." So I get that. It's like these people out there saying, I bought a 2080. Those guys went out and spent close to $2,000 for that 2080. Now, I think they're crazy. I think they're full of it. But I understand they paid the cost to be the boss. I get it. Okay? So, but no, not me. I'm too cheap. I'm too poor. I'm too frugal to buy a 2080. Now, I will buy one secondhand, like say if Blaze 4K called me up and said, yeah, Craig, I got this 2070, I got this 2060, whatever, I'll sell it to you for $300. Go ahead and send me $150, I'll send you the card, and you just pay me back. I do that, Said, oh, somebody paid $70 for Demon Souls. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if you like those types of games, people were saying it was a great game for $70. I mean, I saw people saying that the State of Play, they were going to announce Bloodborne being 60 frames per second. Now, I mean, again, I just don't get where they're getting this from. I just don't anymore. I'm just done with that. I mean, I don't like. This is why I specifically said, hey guys, I don't care if you speculate. I don't care if you ask me to speculate on something, but am I going to lead off on a podcast on speculation? Nah. The only time I will do that is when the game is coming out. So I will do a speculation on Returnal on what do you all think the game is about. We can speculate about the actual physical game and what it's about, okay? But I'm not going to sit up there and say, it's going to be 4K native and 60 frames per second and all that. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm not doing that. So, and if that means you unsub, I respect that, okay? I totally respect that. So, but that's not what I'm doing. Now, I stopped doing that a long time ago because I was told, hey, Sony pretty much is opening up its ecosystem and their games are going to go on PC, more than likely not day and date, because they have hardware proprietary to push, but ultimately their games will end up on PC. So don't be shocked if Spider-Man on PC. The game came out in 2018. Okay? The game came out in 2018. So, and the game is 3 years old. If you got a PS-5, you have a 60 FPS version of it with ray tracing. You got a 30 FPS version with ray tracing. Okay, we do. You know, we have a 1440p version of it with ray tracing. So, we have that now. We have what the PC would have. So. And somebody said, well, the PC is going to play it better. Yeah, it's 3 years old, my guy. It's 3 years old. So, of course, the PC is going to play it better. But Mass Effect Andromeda came out in 2017. That game you're looking at right now, that game is running at about 92 frames per second. Okay? I play it that fast. But, of course, when I'm streaming it at whatever, 720p, 60 frames, or whatever this is on this software. Okay? So, so you do want the, I don't, yeah, that's fine. That is fine to want, look, everybody wants Naughty Dog to put that game at 60. That's the one game that people have told me, if they put that at 60, they will go back and replay it. The people that have PS5s, okay? I've said that to several people. Hey, if Naughty Dog puts that at 60 and puts some ray tracing on there, similar to what Insomniac did with Spider-Man, will you go back and play it? And people said yes. They're doing the same thing with Spider-Man. So, and I probably would, but man, that game took something out of me when I played it. I mean, that game was tough to play. Like I said, I teared up in parts. I was angry at parts, and I know that's what they wanted me to be. Because he said, the guy who wrote the game, he said he wanted to challenge you, you know, and that's exactly what he did to me. And as somebody who has written songs and has read comic books and has tried to write short stories, granted I failed at it, but at least I tried. I tried and I failed, but at least I tried. The fact he was able to pull that kind of emotion out of me was that game. I played that game one time. Not because it is the best game I've ever played. And that's hard for me to say because everybody knows my favorite game is Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. But it is, and my favorite new character is, my favorite Sony character is Aloy. But the best game I've ever played is The Last of Us Part 2. So, and that goes for gameplay, that goes for the story. That's everything combined. It looks fantastic as well. So, but again, like I said, guys, yeah, Last of Us Part 1 was nice too. I actually was screaming at the TV because for Ellie to do certain things. I promise you I was. I'm like, God, come on, what is taking this girl so long? You know, and the fact that Ellie just couldn't do the same thing that the adult could do. That was attention to detail that I had never seen before in a console game. Okay, the fact that she had to go and find stuff, or you had to use her to go find step stools and ladders because she wasn't strong enough to do certain things when she was a kid. There was something else. I mean, like I said, it moved me. It was tough. I mean, it moved me. So, let's see here. Read for sure the mini games at launch price tag. Oh yeah. All right. The whole $70 thing you got to understand by now. that if Sony is going to keep spending millions of dollars on first-party AAA IP, they fully expect us to support their games going up in price. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have to. You don't have to. But again, they fully expect you to say, "Hey, look, we want a certain return on these games." So again, that I'm buying Returnal. I'm buying Kenna Bridge of Spirit. I mean, again, I hope that Ember Labs makes a physical version of Kenna. That's what I'm waiting on. If not, I've got a digital card that I use at GameStop that I can just put into the PlayStation like that. So, but again, that's why I buy my games. I put my games on these little cards that you can go get, and I put $10 here. You know, you load the card up. That's the way I've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for at least 15 years. That's the way I buy my games. So the only games I buy outright cash are like sports games, Madden and baseball. So you got Kenna Deluxe Edition pre-order. Yeah. And again, I would have done that, but realistically, I've got my money on a card for Kenna and Returnal, and it's just a little $3 here, $4 here. You know, next thing I know, I've got $15. I can go up to the store and say, "Here, load this on this card." So yeah. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get on off here. Like I said, she's been pulled up, so I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna order the pizza. Free pizza from Domino's. So, is that supposed to possibly avoid? Yeah, you do everything you can. I don't have a large, what you would call, internet footprint. I don't have a lot of information on the internet that people can get. So, but yeah, for me personally, yeah, you have people that pay their bills. I mean, if I got to pay a bill or something like that, I will load that money on the card, and you just go to the website, type it in, and go. So. No, it's gonna be bacon and pepperoni pizza, and I'm gonna get a pasta bowl and a 2-liter, and then we're gonna watch this movie, and she's gonna go to her mom's for a little bit, and I'll be home by myself. So I get to be by myself for a little while, and she's gonna go do some stuff, run around with her mom. So. But guys, that's it. I'm going to bounce on off here. I do appreciate you coming. Remember, guys, don't spoil games. In the words of Deadpool, remember what Deadpool, I don't know if you saw Deadpool 1, when he said, "Don't leave your popcorn sitting at the theater. That's a dick move." I'm telling you guys right now, spoiling games, that's a dick move. I mean, if you do it, you do it, but I'm asking you guys not to do it, okay? If you don't like that Sony is putting games on PC, I respect that, but you all should have looked at the tea leaves. Again, hardware being moved onto PC natively is going to should denote that Sony's going to start putting games on PC. Now, I guess your question, well, will they do it day and date? Not based on what I've seen, okay? Not based on what I've seen, and I'm basing that on what they did with Spider-Man, okay? You know, I'm basing that on what they did with Spider-Man, okay? Because with Spider-Man, the movie that's coming out, that specifically says only in theaters. It's not going to go to premium video on demand, or you will hear PVOD, premium video on demand. So they're not doing the same thing that Warner's doing with King Kong and Wonder Woman. They're not doing that. You're going to have to get up. We're going to have to get up off our butts and go to the theaters. And by then, you all should have had your you-know-what shot, okay? So get that done so we can get back into these theaters, guys, okay? I want some popcorn, for crying out loud. I want my Laird popcorn back. I can't do that without you guys' help, so let's get it done. All right, we're going to get it out. We're going to get on off here, folks. Remember, just enjoy your day. I'll be gaming all day after I watch this show. So you all take it easy. Yeah, I assume there will be a podcast. Big Cloud is going to do his podcast today. So all right, then, I will talk to you all later. Peace out.